The movie opens in the middle of the night in a messy apartment, where a young girl hurriedly fixes soundproof foam to her ceiling, desperate to block out something. With trembling hands, she presses the microphone, listening, but instead of silence, she hears it again. A chilling, otherworldly sound, something inhumane. Suddenly her intercom rings. Is someone at the door? She limps towards the intercom, but behind her, we can see a shadowy figure standing there. She picks up the receiver, to her horror the same strange sound, echoing right into her ear. On that same night, she vanishes without a single trace. The scene then shifts to a noisy manufacturing factory where machines roar, workers wear headphones to protect their ears. In the midst of the chaos, our heroine Yuna works without any headphones. A colleague calls out to her, but she frowns and gestures for him to lower his hand from his mouth. Only then does she understand by reading his lips that she got a call from the police station. Yuna is deaf. She connects with the world using her hearing aids and receives the call. They inform her that her sister Sumi, who hadn't shown up for work in the past 4 days, has been reported missing. They called her to ask if she knew Sumi's whereabouts. And it is then we realize, the frightened girl we saw at the beginning, the one who vanished into the night, was none other than Sumi. Yuna tells them that she hasn't been in touch with Sumi after she moves to the company's dorm room. So she tells the officer that she will go to the apartment herself and check on Sumi. Yuna returns to their apartment 604, and she finds some paper written with a message of "please don't make any more noise" sticking on their door. Confused about that notice, she enters the code and opens the door. To her shock, the apartment is a total mess, trash everywhere. She calls Sumi but no response. Yuna recalls the time she stayed here with her sister. Sumi often complained about strange noises from upstairs, and hit the ceiling with a broom, shouting to stop that noise. But when Yuna listens, she doesn't hear any noise, and tells Sumi to stop acting like this. Later she starts to stay at the company's dorm room. The next day, Yuna went to Sumi's office and talked to her colleague. When she asks him about anything strange he notices with Sumi before her disappearance, he said whenever he talks with her on the phone, she talks about some strange noise which seems odd. Yuna thanked him for the information and gave her number, asking to contact her if he knows anything. Later she returns to the apartment and finds Sumi's handbag with her phone and ID in it. It feels strange that her sister didn't even take her phone and ID with her. Yuna tries to open the phone which is switched off due to no battery. When Yuna searched for a charger, she was frightened to find something wet and moldy in a single spot on the floor. Suddenly the intercom rings and someone is at the door. When Yuna asked who it is, no response. She slowly walked towards the door and opened it with safety chains still on. A strange man standing outside, asking if she was Sumi's sister. He says he is from room 5 not 4 right below them and telling her to stop making noise. He can't tolerate the noise from their apartment. But Yuna said her sister went missing and no one is living in 6 not 4 for the past few days. But he ignored her reasoning and warned her not to make any more noise again in a terrific tone. Yuna thinks he is a psychopath and sees a shadowy figure standing out there. In fear she locks the door. Inside the house, Yuna tries to unlock Sumi's phone by trying different passwords, but none works. She saw their family picture in which she with her sister Sumi along with their parents was sitting on a park, smiling. But later the scene shifts to a funeral home, where Yuna and Sumi sit there crying and we can see both their parents have died. The next day, she meets the apartment security, asking about her sister's disappearance. The security tells Yuna that Sumi often complains about a strange noise, and tells him she is going to find the source of that noise. Yuna tells about that creepy man downstairs who threatened her last night, but the security assures her, he seems like that but not dangerous. While talking, the security worries and starts to tell her something about that room 604 where they are living now, and suddenly another tenant interrupts them and complains about the bad smell from the basement. Security takes them both to the basement and opens it. They all hit with a terrible punchy smell and run outside. He tells them that all the garbage and unwanted items from the people in this apartment have been dumped here for the past 10 years. He even locked the basement to avoid further dumping, but people dump more waste through the basement window. That new tenant who complains about the smells asks the security to arrange someone to clean the basement. Suddenly, a woman walks towards them telling, it is not a simple task to clean the whole basement with the few rental amount they pay. That person is the chairwoman of the residence committee, Chong. She tells them these are all wastes dumped by the tenants like her, and it will cost tens and thousands of dollars to clean it. The new tenant left the place frowning. While Yuna asks the security what he is going to tell her about that room 604, Chong notices this and told the security to go and continue his work rather than ideally chatting here. Later, Yuna was at her company's supervisor office who reprimanded her for taking many days off. He starts to talk about how he manages to get her the job and the room in the dormitory even though she is deaf. Yuna turns off her hearing aids in order not to listen to those lectures and opens a speech recognition app on her phone, which converts the voice to words for her to read. After returning from the company, Yuna once again finds those warning letters sticking on her door in which it wrote, "Your noise is causing me much pain, do I sound like joke?" She thinks it is from that psychopathic neighbor downstairs. Yuna packs all her belongings from her dorm room to the apartment, as it seems like she quits her work to search for her sister. When she arranges the clothes in the cupboard, she found a small package which turns out to be the birthday gift Sumi prepares for Yuna. Sumi works hard and saves up money to buy a new pair of hearing aids for Yuna, which also has a Bluetooth pairing option. When she puts on the hearing aid, it automatically connects with Sumi's phone and a voice note starts to play. Sumi wishes Yuna a happy birthday and tells her how much she loves and misses her. She prepared so many dishes for Yuna and bought a cake. When Yuna eats the dishes Sumi made for her, she hears Sumi tell her, "When you listen to this message, I will be next to you and we will celebrate your birthday." Tears fell from Yuna's eyes while listening to Sumi's message. Suddenly, Yuna notices the birthday cake with her birthday, 1010, and thinks maybe this is her phone's password. When she enters it on Sumi's phone, it opens. She searches through the call history and calls back Sumi's last caller, but the line is busy. She messages them to call back soon. Then sees several voice recordings on the phone and starts to listen one by one. At first it's only Sumi's voice telling the noises to stop, but after 3 to 4 audio, Yuna starts to hear some strange noises. It is like someone running above their ceiling and some disturbing voices which confuses her. Later she goes to bed, suddenly someone starts knocking at the door heavily. Sumi calls Yuna from outside the door and asks Yuna to open the door. When Yuna hears Sumi's voice, she runs to open the door. At the last moment of removing the lock, Yuna stops. She slowly asked, "Is this Sumi? Did you forget the passcode?" But strangely no sound from the other side. In doubt, Yuna saw through the peephole only to be stared back by a black eye. Suddenly she wakes from the dream the next morning. The colleague from Sumi's workplace whom once Yuna talks with, came to visit her. He introduces himself as Han. When Yuna asks if he is Sumi's boyfriend, he refuses, explaining they were in the early stage of dating. While they were talking, Sumi's phone rang. It is the last caller of Sumi who Yuna messaged last night. The last caller turns out to be the broker lady who sold that apartment to them. Yuna and Han meet the broker lady who tells them. Sumi inquires about that apartment 604 as she hears some strange noises and sees a shadowy figure. When she asks if someone died in their apartment before they buy it, the broker lady thought, Sumi can truly see ghosts. Because, 1 year before they bought that 604, a young girl lived there who often calls and complains about some strange noise, but a few days later she didn't call. A rotten smell starts to come from room 604 and they find out that girl hung herself and died. When Yuna hears this, she imagines how she ate besides a rotten dead body hanging from the ceiling. Han and Yuna return to 604 apartment. They see another warning paper on their door threatening them to stop making noise. Han asked Yuna if he could go and talk with that neighbor downstairs, but she refused. Later, Han was preparing missing posters of Sumi. Yuna got a call from police. They told her Sumi was not found in the CCTV leaving the apartment as this apartment has only one exit. They also found no presence or any traces of Sumi in any CCTV outside, which complicates the further investigation. Yuna suspects the man from 504 must be behind Sumi's disappearance, as he is the one writing those warning letters and sticking them on the door. But police asked if she saw him stick it on the door or is there any evidence. Because without any evidence they cannot arrest and investigate him. Han made Sumi's missing posters and plans to leave. Suddenly the intercom rings. It is that man from 504. Seeing Yuna frightened, Han opens the door while Yuna hides behind the wall. Seeing Han, that man seems to search inside the small gap from that door, asking, "Now are you two living here? No matter how many of you live here, don't make any more noises. Otherwise I won't be talking next time," and he left. When Yuna comes out from hiding, Han tells her not to open the door next time as he feels like that man is hiding something in his hand. Then only we can see that creepy neighbor had a knife in his hand. If it is not for Han opening the door, we don't know what would have happened to our Yuna. That night, Yuna was placing Sumi's missing poster on the parking lot. She notices a small boy watching the basement window. When she asks him what he was looking at, he runs away. But Yuna got curious and tried to see through the window with her phone torch. Suddenly someone comes behind Yuna, startling her, who is Kim, a lady living in 804. They both sit at the park and talk about Sumi's disappearance. Kim tells Yuna about a committee meeting in next few days, which would be a good place to inform more people about Sumi's disappearances. While they were talking, Yuna sees a little girl playing on the swing, but after some time that girl is nowhere to be seen. When she returns and brushes her teeth, she seems to hear her sister's voice from the tap pipe. Suddenly, someone enters the passcode and opens the door. To her shock, it's Sumi. Yuna runs and hugs her, asking where she was all these days. But Sumi tells her, "Don't act like a caring sister. I went missing for real, but if the police didn't call you, you will never come to meet me." While talking, Sumi enters her room and shuts the door. Thinking Sumi is just angry at her, Yuna opens the door to talk, only to find no one is there. She hears a strange sound and turns back, finds Sumi hanging herself, which terrifies Yuna. She runs and holds Sumi, crying why she did something like this, and she wakes from that terrifying dream. Yuna feels horrified by that dream and goes to drink some water. She hears that strange noise again coming from the balcony window. It seems like someone is standing outside and starts to walk closely to the window, that strange figure getting closer and closer. Yuna breaks out in cold sweat and runs to the door to escape. A strong knock is coming from outside the door. Who is that creepy neighbor? It startles Yuna, and when she turns back at the window, there is nothing there. She sees through the peephole to find that man left. She feels relieved, but that 504 neighbor is not as lucky as Yuna. After knocking at the door with a knife, he starts going to his floor, and suddenly he sees a strange head poking out of the entrance, staring at him. When he turns back in fear, a ghost comes near, frightening him. He runs fast for his life, only to break the glass and fall from the apartment to death. The next day, Yuna finds out that the creepy neighbor has died and asks the police to search his room for Sumi. But they find no one there. While Yuna argues with police to strengthen the investigation, Chairwoman Chong along with few ladies approaches Yuna, telling her not to act like a lunatic, just like her sister who always talks about strange noises. She also tells Yuna that room 604 seems to be cursed, because all the tenants who live there have gone mad. When Yuna asks her who she talks about, they all left without explaining anything. To find out what happened here before Yuna comes to live in this 604, she went to meet the lady from 804, Kim. Kim invites Yuna and gives her tea. Yuna sees a picture of a little girl with Kim, and sees that girl running in the house. Kim told her that is her daughter, who is 8 years old. When Yuna starts talking about Chairwoman Chong, Kim stops her, telling, "Chong lives next door and anyone can hear anything among these walls." Kim starts to tell her what happened before Yuna moves in. Kim shows a group photo and points out a lady named Seo Jin and tells her that before Chong, Seo Jin was the committee's chairwoman, who lived in 704. She was so sensitive to sound and often complaints about the noise. One day, she got so angry that she shouted and hit the ceiling with a broomstick, which made the man from downstairs 604 go mad. He rushed to her place, brutally hits her with a hammer and leaves. Seo Jin, in the blink of death, knocks the wall with her bloody hand in hope that someone may hear and rescue her, but everyone thinks it's some noise and ignores it. Later we found her dead, but did not make a big news out of it because it would ruin the apartment's reputation. And the man from 604 vanishes after attacking Seo Jin. Police investigated and searched for him, but he was never found. Yuna asked Kim, who is now living in 704, as there were some strange noises coming from there. But Kim tells her after that incident 704 is vacant till now, which shocks Yuna. Then she returns to her room only to find a blank paper sticking on the door. When she removes it, someone scratched her sister's name with a knife and blood on the door. The next day, she distributes the missing posters at the committee's meeting. Seeing Chairwoman Chong talks about the dead man from 504, but not about her missing sister, enrages Yuna. She shouts at the crowd after raising the mic's volume. She yells at them for not taking her sister's disappearance seriously, but talk about a psychopath who threatens her. Chairwoman Chong tries to stop her and talks nonsense about Sumi, which angers Yuna. Both starts to fight by pulling hair and wrestling. Han comes at the right time to calm Yuna. Chairwoman Chong has Yuna's one hearing aid from the fight, which Han takes away from her and walks away with Yuna. Later, Yuna and Han talk about the previous chairwoman Seo Jin and that guy who killed her. After some research, Han finds out that the killer never left the apartment. Even police find it strange that no CCTV shows he ever leaves this apartment. It is like he vanishes into the thin air, just like Sumi. Yuna suspects, maybe it is that killer who hides somewhere. He must have kidnapped Sumi and holds her hostage in this apartment, where no one find or search. Suddenly it clicks. The basement is the only place no one suspect or searched till now. Both went into the basement by breaking the lock and searching the place. At one point the path divides into two, each taking one path to search all places before nightfall. Yuna finds a drawing book with a child drawing of the accident her family had. Young Sumi playfully turns the steering wheel, which leads to a fatal accident. They lost their parents and Yuna become deaf while Sumi has permanent limp. The last drawing shows everyone is staring at Sumi, and their eyes turn red which startle Yuna. She closes the note. When she opens it again there is no drawing, only blank pages. On the other side, Han records in his video camera while searching, and finds someone lying on the ground. On closer look, it is that killer and he is dead. Suddenly, that killer's ghost possesses Han. He starts attacking Yuna and strangling her. She struggles and hits him in the head with a rock and starts running. She finds a window, tries to get out and get hurt by the broken glass on the window. Han grabs her leg, but at the last moment someone helps her by pulling her from the window. When Yuna opened her eyes, she found herself covered in bandages and treated wounds. A little boy is playing video game nearby. She calls him but he doesn't respond to her. Then Chairwoman Chong comes and it turns out, she was the one who helped her. Chong says she calls the police to search the basement for Sumi, as Yuna risks her life because of that. She also tells her this is her son who is deaf. Maybe he put away his hearing aids, which is why he didn't respond to her. Yuna tells Chong, the only kids she saw in this apartment were her son and Kim's daughter. But Chong froze for a moment and told her that Kim's daughter was already dead. A few years ago, she was hit by a truck while playing outside and died on the spot. Later, police found a dead body inside the basement. We all thought it might be that killer's body, but to our shock it was Han and Yuna felt heartbroken. Police retrieved his video camera and further investigation will tell them how Han died. They warned Yuna not to do something dangerous again in the name of searching for her sister. When Yuna asks about the iron door in the basement, they say there is no iron door and warns her not to go inside the basement again. But after the police left, Yuna thinks Sumi must be behind that iron door, so she went inside that basement again. After some searching, she found Sumi's broken video camera and connected it to the phone to see the last footage. In that video, Sumi runs to 804 saying she finally found the source for the strange noise. She opens the door which is unlocked. Inside the room were several machines vibrating and producing sounds non-stop. Through a crack in the door, she sees Kim talking to the blank space as if talking to her daughter. When Sumi tries to get out of there, Kim attacks Sumi and the video ends there. Yuna finds her sister tied up in a corner and hugs her. She unties and helps her sister to go out of that basement, but at the doorway someone is blocking the path. It's Kim and she runs to attack them, but Yuna closes the door in between them and helps Sumi to hide safely. Yuna then runs to confront Kim, who starts attacking Yuna with a hammer. Kim tells her because of Seo Jin who always complains about the noise. She takes her daughter to play outside and she had an accident. To avenge her daughter, she wants everyone to suffer from the same noise and become unrest. But Yuna tells her that her daughter is already dead, which enrages Kim. Suddenly, Yuna realized something and told Kim. When Seo Jin was knocking on the wall for help, Kim was actually there watching her dying. Kim laughs at her and screams that she will kill her just like her sister. Yuna seems confused by Kim's words and tells that her sister is still alive. Kim starts strangling Yuna. Suddenly, that strange noise starts to come from the ceiling. Both of them are terrified to see Seojin's ghost, crawling on the ceiling towards them and starts attacking Kim. Yuna runs out of the iron door and closes it despite Kim's plea for help. We can hear the same knocking for help from Kim in the pool of blood. Now Yuna is confused by Kim's words of killing Sumi and searching for Sumi with worries. Thankfully, Sumi was there alive and both hugged each other. After 1 year, a young girl introduces herself as the new tenant of 704 and asks Yuna if she is living alone. Yuna says she lives with her younger sister and turns back to smile at Sumi, who stands at her room door. But the twist is, when that girl looks inside, no one is there. From this scene, we can understand that just like Kim, who thinks her daughter is alive, Yuna too imagines Sumi is alive. But in reality what Kim said was true, that she killed Sumi.